So today we're going to talk about catfishing yourself. Has any of you heard of this term, catfishing? Raise your hand. Everybody. So catfishing is, we'll go into explain. Catfishing is often involved in dating exchanges where somebody will pretend online to be somebody that they're not. I was reading a book called the Sri Manashiksha, and there was a part of it, and I was like, oh, this is kind of like catfishing yourself. And then I looked up some videos about catfishing, and I saw some really funny and sad stories. I saw one video of this lady who was, every week she was sending money to this guy. She was a very racist guy from, she herself was very racist, and she was from the southern part of the United States. And she thought the guy was somebody in the military, but it was a guy in Africa. So it was quite, there's some irony there. It was really, and then there was another gentleman. He was an older guy, and they had this picture of this beautiful, she was half African American, half mixed lady, very beautiful. And it ended up being there's 100 profiles with her photo because she had modeled at one point of her life. And so there's all these profiles with the same, and there are these people that help people kind of realize that they're being catfished. They kind of took it as their mission to help other people realize, hey, this is a fake person and you're sending money to a scammer. And so the man, he realized, but you could see there was this strong attachment. They even found the real lady, and she did a video chat and say, hey, that's actually not me. My name is this, and you can see it's I'm not this person. But the other lady, the racist lady, she was so attached that despite all the evidence, she wouldn't stop sending money to this person. She just wanted to keep the fantasy. But I'll tell you a little story. Would you guys like to hear how I met my wife? Anybody would like to hear this story? No? No, he's not interested. So this is a picture here, newly engaged, 2002. And so I lived as a monk in the Brooklyn Temple in 2001. And how many of you see the monks doing the kirtan in the subways? How many of you have seen that? So I would distribute books, Prabhupada's books, these books here, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the streets of New York City, on the subways of New York City as a monk. And so one day, I see this punk rock kid. And she's, yes.
When did you decide to become a monk?
When I was 20, I became a monk. So that was in 1999. And I first started, I can, just a little brief. When I was somewhere around 8 or so, I had a sister who passed away when she was 2. So I naturally had the question, if God is all loving, all powerful, all knowing, then why does something like this happen? And I found that in my culture and my tradition, the kind of Christian-based American culture, we didn't really have an answer for that question. There was not if you probed into it, I couldn't find a deeply satisfying answer. And so when I was 14 years old, I spent some time with a friend of mine. She was 13, and she started teaching me about the Eastern tradition. And she started teaching me about reincarnation. And when I learned about reincarnation, it actually gave a nice, complete picture of how things work in this world. For example, one more time. Emma walks into the bodega. The cashier looks at her, grabs her by her hair, and then holds her down on the ground. How do you feel? Not good. Now, what if the manager's door is open and he's watching? Does it make it better? Or is it worse?
Maybe worse.
Completely worse.
Yeah.
So you have just appeared on the scene, and then there is this type of assault or some kind of trouble that you're being put into. And so similarly, we're born into this world. Some of us are born wealthy, some of us are born poor, some of us are born healthy, some of us born sick, some of us born in spiritually inspiring families, some of us are born in families of religious people who are total hypocrites, and some of us are born in atheistic families. So religiously, spiritually, economically, educational, health, there's no equality. We're all facing all these different troubles. And then we are told management is watching. God is watching. You just appeared on the scene. You just appeared in the grocery store. You just appeared in this world as birth, and automatically you're given trouble. Now, there is one piece of evidence or one piece of information that could make Emma's story in the bodega a little bit more clear. Any guess what that could be? Before, yeah, not there. She just appeared in the store. So she had done something before in that bodega. Emma, I know she looks like a very nice person, but but so Emma had done something very terrible in this bodega, and they decided to leave an undercover cop as the cash register at the cash register. When you bring in the element of a past life, then it starts. You actually have a framework to make sense of the inequality of birth. When you don't have a past life, it's very hard to explain God and the way this world works. It's very hard to kind of make sense of anything. And so my 13-year-old friend explained all that to me. And I was like, this is resolving a lot of questions that I had. Because intuitively, I felt that there is God, but I just couldn't wrap my head around these questions. And so I started reading some of these books and going to the temple in Honolulu, Hawaii. And then I moved to Oregon. And then in Oregon, I eventually became a monk. So as a monk, I was selling books at Grand Central Station subway. And I see this punk rock young lady. And she's talking to my friend, handing him a donation. And what I said to her is like, I used to look just like you. And her response was, all my life, I wanted to become like you guys. All my life, I wanted to become a nun. We're like, really? This is not the thing that we normally hear from people we meet on the street. And so she said, yes, I'm very interested in spirituality, and I've always wanted to really give my life to it. I said, well, here, take this book. We have a book. It's like the second book on the second book from the right, called Beyond Birth and Death, which is one of the first books I read when I was 14. It's about reincarnation. And so she took the book, and I said, well, you know what you should also come on Sunday. We have a nice dinner. Here. And she's like, no, I'm a vegetarian. And I was like, no, it's all vegetarian. And then she said something very strange. She said, no, I don't like food with garlic and onions, which is something that is like an Ayurvedic thing, but it wasn't for her. It was just her own personal preference, but that's actually how the temple cooks. I said, actually, that's the weirdest thing I ever heard, but actually our temple, that's how we serve our food. It actually doesn't have garlic or onions. This is a whole thing there. And so we took her email and her phone number, and then somebody she had gone to school with when she was in middle school walked by, and she said, oh, I gotta go. I haven't seen this person in a long time. So she walked off. And so her friend's like, oh my God, amazing to see you. Actually, in the book, you have our phone number, and then her friend's phone number is there, written in the book. She took her friend's. And she's like, how are you doing? Are you dating anyone? And she says, no, I don't date. And she's like, you don't date? What? Don't you ever want to get married? She's like, no, I don't want to get married. Nah. She's like, what? Come on. You don't date anybody? You don't want to get married? Who are you going to marry? And then she said, well, maybe that monk guy seemed kind of nice. No. But it was just kind of like a little bit of like a Freudian slip. It was just like a joke, because she's thinking, sacerdote, these are monks for life. This is how, it was just like a joke. It wasn't really it was kind of a casual joke. So about 5 days later, she had a dream. Now, dreams are a little significant for her because she's had prophetic dreams throughout her life. On September 11th morning, she had a dream of 2 planes flying into the World Trade Center. She had a dream of the temple president, former vice president of the Dallas temple, having a heart attack right before the Janmashtami festival, which she warned him, and he actually had to go to the hospital, and he said he would have toughed out the symptoms if he didn't get this warning, and it basically saved his life. So she's had many different profound dreams throughout her life. And so she had this dream, and I'm, dressed, I guess, in maybe the monk robes or these kind of robes. And I'm across the street, and I'm waving. And I walk across the street, and I get hit by a car. And she runs over, puts my head in her lap, and I say, "Don't worry, we'll get married in our next life." And then she wakes up, and she's like, "Why are these people in my dream? I don't even know them. This is somebody I said, met in the subway. What's going on here?" So we had written her at some point and saying, how are the books? She had written back. And then we had a festival that was coming up, a festival that we have in the spring. And it's called Raghunātha. It's an annual festival that they have in India. It's for the avatar incarnation of Krishna known as Chandra. Some of you heard of Hanuman, like the monkey god. It's all connected there. So we are calling people to invite them for this festival. And so I called her, and I said, "Hare Krishna, this is Nityananda calling from ISKCON Brooklyn, and we have Raghunātha festival this Sunday." What? Well, basically, I called at the deepest depths of depression, or the crescendo. She was actually, at that moment, ready to give up her life, and that's when the phone rang. She thought it might have been her best friend, who she was going to tell her, "Thank you for calling, but this is the end. That's when I called to invite her for the Raghunātha festival. And I said, and then she said, "What? Who?" First of all, it doesn't sound like I'm speaking English. It's like all these Sanskrit words in the middle of invite and Sunday or whatever. And so I said, "Oh, we have a festival this Sunday." She said, "Who is this? The monk people?" And I said, "Yes, it's the monk people." I said, "Yeah, we have a festival this Sunday." She goes, "I want to go right now." And I said, there's nothing really happening here right now. And a Brooklyn temple in 2001 on an off middle of the day of the week, there was nothing happening. The festivals were like the party, big, fantastic festival. And I said, "There's nothing really happening." And she's from the Bronx, so she's like, "Can I go or not?" I said, "Yeah, you can come. No problem." She said, "Well, I'm a little afraid that once I get off the train station, I'll just get lost. Is there a chance that somebody could help guide me from the station to how to get there? Because I'm just going to get lost." This is 2001. It's before people had GPS. And I said, "Just call us from the payphone, and I'll come out there, and I'll walk you over to here." And so she called, and I came down, and I waved. And it was just like, it was like how you recognize the cadence of your own friends. If you saw one of your friends walking from behind, even if you don't see their face, that's if you saw her from walking, you're like, "That's my daughter," without even seeing the face, just how the strut, the posture, everything, you can tell. So it's just like the dream. It was like, no, stay there. And so I showed her around. I could see there's some distress there. I didn't know what was going on. And then she came for the festival. And then within 1 or 2 days of visiting, visits, she said, "Is there anything in the morning?" And I said, "I don't know. Yeah, we have a morning. We start our kirtan and our meditation at 4:30 a.m. Well, you live in the Bronx, and the trains are local. I don't know how you're going to make that." She said, "No, I'll be there." And so she showed up next morning. She left her house at 2 a.m. in a very terrible part of the Bronx to come to here, which was, in 2001, a very terrible part of Brooklyn. And so she showed up here at 4:30 a.m. and attended the program, did the meditation for 2 hours. Then there was another kirtan class. Then she would also help in some volunteer work. Now, this went on for 8 months straight. Leaving the house at 2 a.m., showing up at the temple at 4:15 a.m., right before the morning program. And so after 8 months, we said, hey, we have to talk to you. Remember the first thing you told us? Like, you want to become a nun? You're a nun. Normal people don't decide to leave the Bronx at 2 a.m. to come to a temple at 4:30 a.m. You know, it's like, that's not, normal people don't do that. We have a ladies ashram here, but we don't have any kind of person who could lead it for you. But we do have a farm in Tennessee, and you could actually stay there, and you have like a type of live-in intensive experience. And she said, yes, I very much look forward to that. And so she went to Tennessee. She was there for about 3 months, and then her mother called her, said, hey, I have some paperwork for you to sign because I have property in El Salvador, and some of it's your name's on this thing, so you have to sign it. So can you come back to New York? So she came back to New York, but as a monkette, as a nun in the Brooklyn Temple. And so there's no catfishing in this story. Actually, there's not even dating in this story. So this is a part where it gets a little weird. I had left New York. As monks, we are trying to establish a temple in Manhattan. We didn't have the Bhakti Center in 2001. And we got rental scammed. Thousands of dollars of monk-earned money on the streets of New York City, and some monks' bar mitzvah money. And so we had tried to open a temple in Midtown Manhattan, a little tiny place, but we got rental scammed. So I head back to the temple that I was before in Portland, Oregon. But I wrote my teacher, and I said, I think this is the girl I want to marry. What do you think? So this is part I'm saying is, this is not your traditional American relationship. And he said, we're all thinking the same thing, that you guys are two peas in a pod, and I'll write her a letter. And so he wrote a letter, said something like, dear such and such, space, 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 you might want to sit down, space, space, space. And I called her and I said, there's an important email, and you should go read it. She said, I'll read it in a couple weeks. I was like, no, you got to, okay, well, that means I have to go to Times Square to the internet cafe. This is how it was. And so she said, yeah, she'll read it. And then, so she went to Times Square, and then the call came, yes. And this is how we started our relationship. And then she came to Portland, and this is like a week after that, yes. And so we got basically skipped the dating and went straight to engagement. And so this is right after that, yes. This is her on stage with Sting at Carnegie Hall. They're doing a George Harrison tribute, and it's a fundraiser concert for some forest charity. And so Sting is there dancing, holding her hand. And although we already were basically pledged to each other, I did do a surprise engagement of the ring, like offering of the ring. This was at the Rose Garden in 2002. And just a random person, I said, hey, I'm going to do this. Can you take a picture? And they take like such wonderful photos. That was really nice. And then here's two of our kids. This is in Houston. We're teaching a yoga class and some kirtan. And then this is here in New York. We have 3 kids. I have also an adopted daughter. So no dating in that story. But it leads to, so catfishing, as I mentioned, is when it refers to the creation of fictitious online persona or fake identity, typically with like internet, and with the intent of deceiving the person. And so with that, just a question. Have you yourself ever been in a wrong crowd? Can you think of a situation that you found yourself in the wrong crowd? And if you want to share, if you have anything you want to share. And we do have a microphone. It's not for the speaker, but it's for the phone, so everyone who's watching online can hear. Do you want to share? Okay, so could you pass the mic back there? Thank you.
Yeah. A couple of times. A couple of times.
Couple of times.
Yeah.
And any stories you want to share? Anything you want?
I end up in the wrong crowd because really I just be bored, so I just end up in the wrong crowd. So
Yeah,
just
boredom
to-
is dangerous. Boredom is very dangerous.
Yeah, just to kill time.
And yourself, did you have one you wanted to share?
Um,
You can use the microphone also.
okay, sure. Actually, there's been a few times. I'm actually someone who spends a lot of time by myself, so I tend to want to find spaces where I feel like I can fit in, and it always ends up leading me somewhere where I end up just hyper analyzing myself. So I used to be into the punk scene. I still consider myself a little punk, but I mean, if I were to go and join a mosh pit, I'd probably get elbowed in the head, so that wouldn't be fun anymore.
Yeah, you recover better when you're younger. Anybody else want anything to share? Anything? So, it's a little story. This is me. This is a picture of me. I'm actually out lying on the floor, playing something with my friends. But I'm wearing a suit because I'm going to the junior high prom with my dreaded mohawk. And so I had a mohawk for many years. I used to sing in a punk band. And so one time I was walking at Ala Moana Mall. This is near Waikiki Beach in Honolulu. I grew up in Honolulu. And these guys were like, they're just like, whoa, brah, you look so cool. Like they started talking to me, and I was actually, socializing with them. I don't know if I sat in their car, but I just know I was talking to them. They were a bunch of Samoan thugs. They were a bunch of Samoan, I don't know if you know, but The Rock, he said that he used to either, I can't remember if it was pickpocket or literally mug people in the streets of Waikiki. So these are I remember in high school, in 8th grade, we had a 300-pound kid that was like, these are the thugs you had to deal with in Hawaii. Although there wasn't much like guns and stuff, there was a lot of intimidation because these guys are tough. And it's not just like, if you're going to get in trouble with one of them, it's not just one, you're getting in trouble with all of them. But anyway, I was talking with, yes?
They're like the wolf pack.
Wolf pack, yeah. So I was talking with these guys, and I think, I don't know if I was sitting in the car, I was just talking next to the car, and then all of a sudden, this guy with an industrial microwave runs out of Sears. And so they're all, get it. And so I get in the car, or I was already in the car, and they're like, hide. And then they're driving, out of the mall, out of the parking lot. And this guy was one of their guys who was in the mall. He stole a big industrial microwave. And so we're driving in the car, and then we went up to like Moana, which is like a valley where there's Moana Falls is there. And then they sold this for some drugs. Now, if I was caught, at this time, I had already, like I said, when I was 14, I actually became a vegetarian when I was 14. And I stopped, I had my experience or experimental practice with marijuana, but everything stopped when I became 14. So I had nothing to do with drugs. I had a completely clean lifestyle. But if there was a chance that these guys got caught by the cops, I would have been in great trouble. So, yes.
Yesterday that one was happening to me too. I was like I wasn't around like wrong people. So
Mm.
I got like stopped by the cops and stuff. They got stopped by the cop because I was in the car with them and stuff. So like thank God like they wasn't like
It was with the right people. Nice.
they
Yeah.
wasn't doing drugs and
So, what I want to talk about is that we all have friends that we keep around us. Not only we keep around, we pay their rent. We support them, even though we know these friends fail us. So, these friends are called envy, greed, pride, anger, bewilderment, and material desire. And just like the one who's catfish, we're like, well, what would I do without them? If I feel, somebody might feel, well, how can I give up anger? How can people walk all over me? I have to hold all my resentments and keep them. I have to pay their rent within my heart, within my mind, and keep them along. Because what would I do without them? Or if I didn't have desire, lust, maybe I wouldn't love my spouse. Or if I didn't have greed, maybe I wouldn't work hard in my job. If I didn't have enviousness, then maybe I wouldn't have the competitive spirit to succeed. But we find that these things fail us again and again and again and again. For example, I'm sure many of you can remember a time that due to anger, what comes from kamat krodha vichayati, that krodha, anger, what follows anger is a loss of intelligence. Very often we find ourselves doing things we regret because of anger. So this is and anger comes from what? Oftentimes it's just unfulfilled desires. A propensity to try to be God, to try to control everything around us. Our desire, basically we have a desire and there's one thing. We have a desire and we don't get it and we get frustrated. Or we have a desire and we get it and it produces greed. I want more. I got $1 million. I want more. Nobody's like, I got my $1 million. No, I want more. So these are kind of two results of just a cultivation of desire, either anger or greed. Now, is it possible to protect yourself without holding grudges and holding hatred and anger? Is it possible to be successful without being jealous? Is it? It is possible, actually. So there's this beautiful verse in a book called the Sri Mana Shiksha, written by Raghunātha Gosvāmī. And so these are called splendid instructions to the mind. Mana. Mana means mind. Like mantra. Man means mind, and tra has different meanings. One of the meanings of tra is that it's an instrumental noun. So like you have sastra, scripture. It's the instrument of providing like a order, not order, but also just like systems and being able to adapt to the way the world works. So you have mantra is the kind of instrument to help the mind. Another meaning of mantra, trayate, tra means to deliver or free the mind. So mantra also means to free the mind from just conditionings. For example, say you have a computer. Someone is really into moving the chairs right behind us. You have a computer. You can program the computer's camera that when you put something blue in front of it, it says, I like blue. That's blue. And you could change the programming that when you put something red, then it's now flipped and it says, I don't like blue. That is red, I like red. And this is just how the programming works. Now our minds are like that. We have particular types of conditionings that we've taken on. Just like why is there so much money in commercials? Because they change the programming of the mind. And you think, I like this product, but no, the commercial has conditioned the mind to convince the person that they like that product. So here's the verse. Asachishta kashta prada vikata pasha libi iha prakamakamadi prakata patapadi vyatikarai Gale padva hanye ham bhaka bhit vartmapa gane Kuru tvam putkaran avati sayata tvam mana ita. So this is shiksha, instructions, splendid instructions to the mind. So he's asking the mind. He's asking his software. Come on, software. Work properly. So these are different stages. This is the fifth verse. And in Bhakti Yoga, the first verse, unlike, you have different systems in the ancient Vedic culture or the systems of yoga that often deal with a sense of detachment, giving up things. But Bhakti Yoga actually starts with what is called attachment. That we develop an attachment for God or divinity, and with that attachment, we start to lose taste in things that are detrimental for our own spiritual progress. How many of you ever done a fast before? Yeah? So when you do a fast, is it that you've lost your desire to eat delicious food? Or is there some tension? Some tension is there, yeah? Sometimes we often have in our spiritual culture days of fasting, and just the fact that you know that today is a fast, you feel yourself more hungry sometimes. Like there's this song that this devotee makes, where he's going off about how he's seeing everything, like everything looks like food to him. And all of his songs are satirical. And at the end of the song, he says, it's only 6 a.m., just like chill out. But he's like flipping out that I'm fasting today. Like the soap looks like food. Like everything looks like food. And so he's like this going, and so there's some tension. Now, if you can imagine that we're all like in a zombie apocalypse. And because of this, we are fasting. We're starving for food. It's not day 5. It's not day 6. It's day 10. And day 10, then everything starts to look good. The dumpster at 7-Eleven starts to look very beautiful. But if someone, as you're looking through that dumpster, comes along and gives you some nice, delicious pizza. Like we have Kana Gopal, we have sometimes pizza parties at our house. And someone gives you this nice, delicious pizza. It's got all different cheeses. It's got mozzarella. It's got Kalamata olives. It's got sun-dried tomatoes. It has a nice red chilies on top. It has the fresh basil. It has a sauce recipe that has been passed down for generations to perfection. The crust You can just smell it. It's so delicious. Now you are eating slice 1, you're eating slice 2, you're eating slice 3. Do you have any tension with that dumpster? Do you still have any attraction to the dumpster on slice 4 of the pizza? And there's another 4 more to go? No. So bhakti starts with attachment, actually connecting to something higher. And that causes you to lose your taste in the lower things. Now this verse is saying, but what if despite that, we're still holding on to things that are not good for us? What if despite I'm practicing spiritual life, but I'm still holding on to things that are my anchors, and I'm not moving, I'm not growing? So asacheshta kada vikata pashali bhir iha. So he says, these so-called friends that I hold on to, envy, greed, anger, hatred, these are they're like highway robbers that I've hired to attack me. And they've put ropes around my neck. And so what should I do? I should find those who are a little bit further along in the spiritual path and practice some vulnerability, some honesty. You know? And then we can see, hey, this person, he's not letting people walk all over him, but he is not held back by grudges and anger and hatred. Or this person works hard, but not because of greed. It's out of love. This person also fights back, stands up to against injustice, but not out of anger, but out of love. Love for God can be the motivator for all these different things. You don't need envy. You don't have to be jealous of others. You don't have to be cultivate all these different desires. It can be actually motivated by something deeper. And so, bhaka bhit vardma pagane. It says that we should go to those. First of all, we have to have that sincerity and curiosity to find those who are a little bit further grown than us, which is hard because we have a hero problem. We feel like we are the hero of this whole story of this world. There's a movie, and I am in the center of it. And that movie is this whole world, this whole universe, and I'm just somehow the center of it, and I'm the hero. And so we have to have a little humility and sincerity. And if we follow that, then we may find, okay, if we're serious seekers, then we will find people that, oh, this is somebody who has qualities that I would like to have. This person is more patient. This person has an equal vision. They see the soul instead of just this person is in this body or that body or that body or that body. They have a deeper vision. And so, Gale bhadvahanye ham iti bhaka bhid vardma pagane. So we go to those who are, and we try to get their time, their association, and learn from them. And then we see, oh, this person is happy, even though he's not holding on to these things. So that's just some of the ideas that I wanted to share with this verse. So I will stop here and ask for you to share, what is your takeaway? What is your doggy bag? What will you take home today? And if you have some reflections or questions. So which side of them? He's ready. Yes.
I have a question. Can you tell me more about that prayer? Is that said as an intention to program the mind, or?
Yes, we're trying to get our mind to cooperate with our desire. So what is the mind? The mind is it's like a monkey. It's software. If you go to a gym and you get on one of the bicycles and you start pedaling, all of a sudden the software starts to pop up. The software appears to be, active or energized, but it's only your own energy that brings it to life. So when the soul is in the body, there is something that accompanies the soul. Actually, not even just in this body. The mind continues with the soul into the next body. Not talking about the brain, but there's what is called the manas, which is the subtle or astral body. And so we're carrying this from one body to another. Therefore, you have persons like Mozart. He was composing symphonies at age 4 because this manas, or this mind, this interest in music, had been passed on from one life to another, something that he had been cultivating and working on. And so one very nice example that is given, I think it's from the Shvetara Upanishad. It's also given in the Bhagavatam, that our situation is like a person in an ancient Uber. So what is the ancient Uber? It's a horse carriage. So imagine you're in a chariot, a horse carriage. It's got 5 horses. And these 5 horses are smelling, touch, taste, seeing, and what did we miss? I think we got them all. Maybe I just said it too fast. But you have your 5 senses of perception. These are like the horses, pulling. Then you have the mind. The mind is the interface between the senses. The mind says, I see blueberry cheesecake, but the mind says, I like blueberry cheesecake. So that's the reins. Then behind the reins is what? The driver. And the driver is called Buddhi. We've heard this name before, Buddha. Buddha means awakened or enlightened. Buddha means intelligence. So the driver of the chariot of the body is the intelligence who interfaces with the mind, which interfaces with the senses. So everybody sees this? Horses, reins, driver, senses, mind, intelligence. Everyone got it? Now what happens if the driver is ill? He's weak. Then what will he do? You have 5 horses. And the senses will decide where this chariot goes. Now, you have 5 horses. That thing is just going to end up in a ditch. Who's the passenger? Who's the passenger? Mine is the reins, the ropes. She got it. Yes, thank you. You get a sweet. So you, the soul, are the passenger. Now, would you be happy in an Uber that's not going where you wanted to go? So the senses say, I want this, I want that, I want this. And then we follow along, and then we ourselves find ourselves, actually, I didn't really want that. Somebody might be in a happy marriage, and the senses say, go sleep with this person. And then they end up this horrible life. And then the actual soul is like, I didn't want that. But the way the conditioning of the mind was, it actually pulled them to things that they weren't actually desirous of the passenger, the soul. But this is when the intelligence is weak. Intelligence is weak. It doesn't have the ability to control the mind. So he's trying to get the intelligence and the mind to be cooperative of the passenger. I don't want to be just controlled by the commercials and the influences of this world. I want to direct my life according to my deepest desire. And so he is asking the mind. First, he starts off a little soft, and then he starts saying, hey, he speaks really strongly in this verse. He said, you're keeping these thieves and you're maintaining them. You're paying your own bad qualities to attack you, like highway robbers. So give up these so-called friends. Give them up. Give up envy. Give up greed. Give up pride. Give up these things. So he is like that, speaking. And the next verse, he speaks even stronger. He says, someone might even come to the point where they're actually very much free from lust, greed, envy, pride, but there's still a hint where they want to be seen as a great religious person. They want to be praised. And he speaks quite strongly. His analogy is quite strong about what that's like. If you're interested, I'll tell you. But
Thank you.
so,
Aside from the mind, when it comes to a mantra, would a key component be just the sheer sound of the mantra?
the sound of the mantra?
Sound, yes.
So you're talking about the musical element or the name?
The name.
Okay. So yes. So the idea that the name of God, hallowed be thy name. So what is this? This is a biblical statement, but most people seem to kind of cross over. They don't really notice it. And it means the name of God is something not of this world. It's holy. And things of this world get old and stale. Something that is holy or something spiritual means it's ever fresh, it's eternal, it's blissful. I can watch, I don't know what is Avatar 3, or I can watch it, but then eventually it's just going to get old. It's going to get old. When my memory goes old, then I can go back and watch it again. But the thing is, material things get old. Where something that is spiritual is ever fresh. So keep connecting the mind to something spiritual. It's like connecting a piece of metal to fire. What happens when you stick a metal rod into fire? The metal rod actually becomes like fire itself. It becomes bright, luminous, and full of heat. So the mind, although it is a material energy, becomes spiritualized when it's connected to God. So we connect the mind through the mantra, through the name of God. Thank you. Anybody else? Any takeaways? Questions?
Hare Krishna.
Back there. Your first time here. Let's give us a good question. Yes.
I'm gonna.
It's
Can you hear
actually
me?
not for the speaker, but for the phone because it's on live
Oh,
stream.
hi.
So they won't be able to hear anything if I don't pass
I
that.
just wanted to say I really liked your comment about the rains. And that's my takeaway, how the rains direct us and how we can actually take control of those rains instead of them directing us.
Nice.
So.
Like you might have heard the quote, Viktor Frankl. He said, our freedom is when there's the impulse, and then there's if there's some space in our response, because the mind has it's just like a computer program. It's a software. It has its own conditioning. But if we go wait a minute, what do I really want? Right. Versus someone says us to something at work, and then our mind says, blah, blah, say something back. Wait, what do I really want?
And then the other takeaway is just that we're pulled in so many directions by people and things, and then to just pause when you're in a situation maybe with the wrong crowd and remind yourself of what direction you want to go in.
Thank you.
You can pause. It's okay to pause.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Any take-homes? Okay. So if there's any last questions? Okay, so we'll stop here. Om Tat Sat. Thanks a lot. So we'll have a short kirtan, and then we'll have a delicious dinner served to you.